Okay, so today's the first day of Shvat, Rosh Chodesh Shvat, and we're learning about Rosh Chodesh, and the 30th of January. Okay, so now what we have to, the next section is going to deal more with the question of why we need a Beis Din, why we need a court, and why we need witnesses. Because it seemed until now that all you needed was ordained judges.
Ordained rabbis.
Right? Why do they have to be in a court?
Yeah.
They could just be, if you want one, you want three. Okay, say you want 1, 3. Why do they have to sit as a court? And the second question is, what do the witnesses serve? On the face of it, it's the ordained that do everything. They bring the malchus up to, right, and even all in the Gemara, all the discussion of whether a witness can become a judge. And idna sadayan. It's a whole topic in Sanhedrin and in Rosh Hashanah. In different tractates, very, very complex topic of why we don't let a witness become a judge. Once you witness something, you can't judge it. Right. He can be a dayan. Can in the same case. Yeah, in the same case. So why this is this way is all connected to this, as we'll see. But I said we have to discuss a little bit more conceptually what is going on with this Rosh Chodesh. What is this all about? And why is this the first mitzvah? Okay, and so these are things that he is not saying explicitly, but we'll add them anyway because they're so important. So what is Rosh Chodesh really? Rosh Chodesh is the beginning of the month, and as opposed to the sun, which doesn't have phases, the moon slowly disappears until for 36 hours it's gone. That's the number that's accepted in halacha. It's about 36 hours, a little bit more than 36 hours. You don't see it at all. You can't see it. And then it's reborn. And the words are born. Molad halevana, the birth of the moon. So really this is every month we celebrate the birth of the new moon. And what is celebrating a birth? What is that? So in human terms, celebrating a birth is called a birthday, right? So here you have the birth of the moon. And it's a certain day. You have to see it. You have to see the birth itself. The Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he started this whole thing of celebrating birthdays. And a lot of people laughed at it. They say, what is this suddenly? Where did this come from? The only one who celebrates a birthday in the Torah is Paro. So you want us all to become Paro? Like, what's that? In general, if it comes from a non-Jew, so the Jewish world tends to look at it negatively. So what do you do with this? So first of all, the very interesting thing is that in the verses themselves, after Paro celebrated his birthday, and because of his birthday, he released the two, the minister of the wine, and then he hung, the one of the baker. And 2 years later, it says, so it was on the same date. On his birthday, he had these dreams. And first of all, we know that this is a very auspicious time for every person. Their birthday is when many things happen. The sages call this mazalo gover. That is, mazel gets stronger. How do you translate that into modern language? People don't understand. What's a mazel? I don't understand what a mazel is. I've never seen one. Don't know what it looks like. So I think the easiest way to translate it is to say your stock goes up. That people understand. Well, why is it that one day my stock is low, one day my stock is high? Nobody knows. There's no... but the fact that it goes up one day, that's my mazel going up. So your stock gets better. What does it mean for the person? The person, psychologically, it means maybe there's hope. A person's been in the world for long enough, he says, like, my stock's always been low. You have these penny stocks. Like, I'm a penny stock. I'm worth like 5 cents. And suddenly, and you see this in many penny stocks, suddenly out of nowhere, they go up to $1. Like they quadruple, quintuple, 20 times, 50 times, 100 times their original price. And there's no good explanation why. Some people call it market manipulation, all kinds of things. But really, they're mazel, they had mazel that day. And suddenly it goes up. So a person also, so a lot of people suddenly jump aboard because they say, oh, if the price went up, maybe it is worth something. Maybe this company is worth something. It's not a complete deadbeat thing. That's what a person feels on his birthday. That's what he's supposed to feel, that the stock is up. And Hashem is telling him, look, there's still hope. It's not over yet. Don't write yourself off. And that's what a person is supposed to take out of a birthday. So that's called mazalo gover. So why didn't Jews celebrate this? Because Paro celebrates this. What do you mean? Why should a Jew celebrate something like this? It's from Paro. Later on, this became the most questionable day, maybe on the whole calendar. And questionable, especially by Chassidim. But it's not just by Chassidim. It used to be the minhag everywhere. It used to be the custom everywhere. They don't learn on that night. So when they celebrate the birth of who they call the Mashiach, so for us this is like a Yomei Dam. It's Ifnei Yomei Dam, like completely disconnect from them. So that also added to the hatred of a birthday. The Jews didn't like it. They didn't like this whole thing. And then suddenly the Rebbe brings it back. Where did the Rebbe bring it back from? He didn't just bring it out of thin air. It was a tradition that the Baal Shem Tov used to celebrate his birthday. It was a very important thing. That in Chabad it was known that his birthday is Chai Elul, and that the Alter Rebbe's birthday is Chai Elul. And there was a very strong, well-known tradition. This was known by people say it was invented by the Rebbe Rayatz. It's simply not true, because we have witnesses that talk about this, especially Reb Hillel of Parich from the second generation of Chabad. He knows about this. This is a well-known tradition, and the tradition was that not only did the Baal Shem Tov celebrate his birthday on Chai Elul, he always used to have a Farbrengen. He didn't necessarily tell everybody why he's having a Farbrengen, because it was still hidden to a large degree. But he did celebrate it. And moreover, he added that the three most important things in his life happened on Chai Elul, not his birth. The three most important were that he had his first Gilu Eliyahu, the first time Elijah revealed himself to him. It was when he was 18. Then when he was 26, that was when Achia Shiloni, Elijah's protege, who was a prophet after him. Everybody knows Elisha after him, but really the one that Elijah was his protege was Achia. It says Achia, Elijah, Elisha. That's the order in the Tanakh. So Achia revealed himself to him on his 26th birthday. And on his 36th birthday, he received from heaven that he has to reveal himself. And he wasn't a revealed tzaddik until then. People knew, but they already began to suspect, but he wasn't known. He didn't do anything in public. So the Rebbe had a very strong tradition but it was a secret tradition, as it were. It was not told to everyone that the birthday is something special. But the real source of the birthday is from Molad HaLevana. The real source of the birthday is from the sanctifying the new moon, when the moon is born. Now, theoretically, you could sanctify the new moon in two times. You could say, I sanctify it when it dies, or I sanctify it when it's born. There's seichel behind both of them. Why is there seichel behind both of them? Because we see that people commemorate a yortzeit. That when someone passes away, especially a tzaddik passes away, so that becomes like a special day. And that's a yortzeit. So for generations, Jews have commemorated the days of passing. But we have an incredible story in the Gemara, that Haman, when he wanted to destroy the Jewish people, he cast a lot, and the lot fell on the month of Adar, and on the 7th of Adar, and he was very, very pleased, because what did he know? He knew this was a Jewish tradition that Moshe Rabbeinu had passed away on the 7th of Adar. So he said, if I kill them on the 7th, if I attack them on the 7th of Adar, they're very weak because of the yortzeit. And that's why you commemorate a yortzeit, because the yortzeit is like to strengthen yourself, that even though you've lost someone so great, so he said, we're continuing his ways, but it's a day of loss, it's not a day of gaining. But what he didn't know, and it's because no one knew, it was only again, you have to ask, did anyone really know this? Was it a secret tradition? Was it was it innovated because of Purim? Like there's a whole question here. But what he didn't know was that Zayin Adar is also his birthday. So the birthday is the birth of the moon. It happens almost on the same day. Like in the moon, it's 36 hours apart. The moment that the moon dies, as it were, you don't see it anymore. And then the moment that it's reborn. So we sanctify the moon on the moment it's reborn, which is like, again, the thing that was commemorated throughout the exile was the Yortzeit, was the death. And the Rebbe is trying to prepare us for the Geula, for the redemption. It says the redemption, the whole thing is what each person understands that he himself is the spark of Mashiach that he's looking for. The Mashiach that he's looking for won't be whole until he brings out his own spark, until he feels that his stock has gone up and that he's able to do much more. And that's why the Rebbe did this. Because everything that the Rebbe did was all to prepare us for the redemption. So the preparation here is to grab the sanctification of the moon, and that's why it all happens in the moment that the moon is revealed. Again, that's the birth. And it's a switch. And what do Chazal say? Chazal say something, the sages say something amazing. They say that the entire Jewish people is likened to the moon. It says that we count, our calendar is more based on the moon than it is on the sun. It's also based on the sun because we keep it with the seasons. But it's based on the moon. That's how we decide the day of the month. Our months are lunar months. They're not solar months. The fact that we do this according to the moon is because we are destined to renew like it, say the sages. She'em atidim litchadesh kmota. Because that's the Jewish mindset. The real Jewish mindset is not the one of celebrating the Yortzeit. The Yortzeit is also important. It has its own importance to strengthen yourself even when something that was very precious and holy is now no longer in your sight. And you can't approach it directly. But much more important is, and now especially when we're reaching the redemption, the more important thing is the molad, the birth. And this is all a rectification of Esav. Because why do you think that they celebrate Christmas? Why is it the nativity, they call it? Because it's the birth. Where did they get it from? It's a very simple thing. Yaakov would celebrate Yortzeits, and Esav would celebrate his birthdays. And you can see it. How do I know that Yaakov celebrated a Yortzeit?
Well, it was when the birthright.
Right. When Esav came to him,
he was preparing,
and he was tired, and he said, "I'm going to die," and so on. What was the Yaakov doing? He was preparing a meal for what? For Avram's death, for his passing. That was the day of passing of Avram. Yeah. So he already, and it says Yaakov Ishtam. He's a Ishtam, so he's an Ishmit. Tam is mit. It's not that he's dead, no. But he values life so much that when life ends, it's painful. You have to strengthen yourself. But let's get back to Paro, just to finish with Paro. It says it was Paro's birthday. But what we don't notice is at the end of that paragraph, after Yosef solves the dreams and Paro says, and you'll be the master of all of Egypt, and so on and so on. What does it say? What's the last thing the Torah says? And Yosef was 30 years old when he stood before Paro. Yes. It was his birthday also. Yosef was the first one to rectify this whole concept of birthday. He was really the first one. And we have the birthday of Paro 2 years earlier, and then his birthday again, and then Yosef rectifies it. And so it's a very common thing in Torah that first it starts with something that's negative, and then it turns into something that's positive. And what happened on that day? His stock went sky high. He became the most valuable stock in Egypt. Etc. So now that we have that in mind, first of all, we can do Rosh Chodesh now. We can feel that Rosh Chodesh is the stock of the Jewish people going up. That's what it is. That's the way you need to think about it. And you have to believe that your stock is very valuable. You can't wait till the non-Jews tell you you're valuable.